Okay, now to start on the base, I dug through my scrap bin of walnut, which you can see right there. That little bucket full of walnut scraps that actually was given to me for free. But I'm such a sucker for loving walnut that this board it's too beautiful to cut. So I'm going to use this really nice board just for this one because I think that the color matches a little better. For these three lighter ones, I think that this smaller board will match their color better anyway. Okay, now I'm going to lay out my blanks, and I've got this set to half the width of this piece of wood, which is 3.5 inches wide. So this is 1 3/4 inch radius, and I want to get a mark right about in the center. I'm going to put it just to this side of the mark there. Okay, now I'm going to attach the mounting plate to the mill onto my blank. I'm going to use that same centering bit to drill the holes and put screws in. Okay, now I've gone ahead and drawn the circle all the way around with my compass, and I'm just going to nip off these corners staying way outside the line so I don't have so much to take off at the mill. There we go, good enough. Okay, I've got my octagon-shaped blank mounted in the mill, and my first cut using a bottoming bit with a flat bottom. I'm going to come in and round it off, and then I'm going to plunge it down an extra 32nd to take a 1/16 off the diameter, and make sure there's no flat spots and give it a finish cut. There we have it, our blank is round. Now that I've made my base round, I'm going to come in with this bit and put a nice little profile around the edge, and I'm also going to plunge in a 32nd at 24 spots evenly spaced around to give it a nice symmetrical looking pattern. I will be climb routing in this situation because it's tightly fastened in the mill. I'm not worried about the piece getting away, and it'll reduce the tear out significantly. Okay, now I'm all set up for indexing. I'm going to attempt to put 24 facets all the way around this base using the same bit at the same final depth. I've set the depth stop a 32nd away from where I milled the profile. I have 24 evenly spaced holes on this machine, so I'm going to move to each hole, plunge in, plunge back, next hole, in, back, and the pattern should turn out pretty nice. So here's what the base looks like fresh out of the machine. Okay, the bases all came off the mill pretty good. Now I just need to take the bases off. I'm going to clean up just a few of these burn marks with hand sandpaper. I don't want to sand too aggressively because I don't want to take off the facets that I put in. But the best way to sand the facets is just bury this in your gut. If you have the bigger your beer belly, the easier it is to do this. But I'm thankful I didn't burn too many of these facets. Then this would take forever. Okay, at this time I'm going to go ahead and cut the nub off and reveal my tenon on the base of these candlesticks. Just that easy. Okay, I'm all set up at the drill press to drill the mortise that's going to fit the 1-inch tenon. I've already checked that this bit matches the tenon on my candlesticks pretty well. I've got my piece clamped in a parallel clamp so I don't have to hold it so close. And I'm just going to drill until I hit my depth stop, which I have set to stop just before I poke through. There we have it. I didn't quite remove all the material, but yet I have a lot of room to stick my tenon in a good ways. Okay, so back at the workbench, I'm checking the fit. It doesn't quite fit in there. It kind of starts. I want to see how deep it is. I've got a 3/4 inch long tenon here. I've only got a 5/8 hole, so I need to take like 3/16 off of this. Well, I was going to shave the tenon at the disc sander, but I've decided to use this one instead because it's more in the open and I'd have to dig out the disc sander. Plus my disc sander burns my wood all the time. This does much better at not burning it. Now that I've shaved the tenon to length, I'm just going to go around it a few times with sandpaper to make sure it fits in the hole. I can slip this right in, perfect fit. And there is my candlestick. Ta-ta! Well folks, this is my candlestick, and I'm really happy with a lot of the aspects of it. The mortise and tenon joint is perfect. I can slip it on, and it doesn't fall off. Just a little bit of glue, and that's going to hold forever. However, I had a discussion with my wife about how it looks, and that big base on there is just ugly. I need to make this base smaller so that this ridge is approximately the same as the candlestick base. And then it's going to look a ton nicer. But I mean, the benefit is it doesn't tip over real easy, but it really needs to have a smaller base. So I'm going to be remaking the bases. And there you have it, through the magic of television, all new bases, 3/4 of an inch smaller. And I'd use the same setup to drill the hole for the mortise. That is a much better looking candle, and it's still not very tippy at all. This base here had chip out on the bottom, so I didn't bother to mill the facets into it. So you can see then the comparison with one that does have the facets. It's actually still kind of cool looking even without the facets, but I think the facets add something to it. Also notice the difference between the larger diameter base versus the smaller diameter base. The facets, 24 of them, are almost not enough because there's actually a bit of a flat spot on the bigger ones. When I tightened up that diameter, there's no flat spots at all, and I think it looks a lot prettier. It's almost more like a diamond. We are talking about facets after all, but that's just geometry for you. Closer in, smaller facets. Gotta love geometry. Before I assemble, I'm going to finish up the sanding at the pillow sander. Okay, the sanding mop did a pretty good job of cleaning up the outside. I only have 80 grit on the sanding mop, so I'm not going to bother to sand it any more than it already is. It's pretty smooth, and I don't see a lot of machining marks, and that was the goal of sanding, to get those machining marks out. There is, however, some little frizzlies inside from where the router bit cut the hollow spiral. So to get those, I've cut a narrow strip of the 80 grit sandpaper. I'm going to feed that through this helix, pull it out the other side, just like this, and I'm just going to go up and down this helix until I get all those frizzlies out. And I'll do that same thing to clean up the inside of the helix on this long one. Okay, I've matched the best I could, each candlestick to its base. Now I just need to glue them up. Okay, and after 4 coats of water-based polyacrylic spray finish, here are the finished candlesticks. I've got the match set that I'm going to give away as a gift to somebody, and these are left-hand twists. And then I've got my one candlestick that's just like those, except it's a right-hand twist. And I've got the mistake candlestick that was 6-inch pitch, but still hollow and still very beautiful. If you'd like to own a set of candlesticks just like these, please look for me on Etsy. My name is Dave. I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed today's project. Please stay tuned for future episodes of Craftsman David. If you copy anything I do on the show, I only ask that you be safe. Wear safety glasses at all times, and hearing protection when appropriate. And if you don't know how to use one of your tools, look it up. We have YouTube now.